Featured TNA wrestler Hector Garza was arrested on Monday, January 3rd at Houston, Texas at Bush Intercontinental Airport, charged with possession of anabolic steroids. He was on his way to the Impact taping.
Hector Garza?
Yes.
With steroids?
Let me tell you about most wrestlers and steroids in 2004, Liam.
What? So this is 2005, Garrett?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, we are in 05. I have to get 05. Just like I have to clear the NWA-TNA from my memory, and I have to clear the 04 from my memory.
Do you want to do steroids?
Should you do steroids?
As a podcast bit?
Does it make your podcasting better?
Who knows? But when we go to the video podcast and I look like a mega Chad because I'm all jacked up on roids.
We will truly become the TNA Chads.
Oh my god, that when we have to change the name of the show.
Legally change our names to Chad.
I just think we are the TNA Chads.
Garza was on his way to the January 4th Impact taping in Orlando. Garza was in Harris County Jail in Texas all week awaiting trial. His brother told Mexican newspapers that he had a prescription for the steroids and that proof was being sent to U.S. authorities. He could have been released on bail but chose not to, since if he returned to Mexico he may not be given a work visa to return to the US, even if he was attempting to prove his innocence. He was scheduled to face Hall on the pay-per-view that was built to for most of the month. It was one of the bigger stories they ran through the month too. But then
it was also one of the more racist stories of the month.
Well, that's TNA. Well, actually, that's wrestling more than TNA. But he was replaced by Jeff Hardy in the end. TNA's Brad Bernstein responded, TNA Entertainment does not condone the use of any illegal substances by an independent contractor or employee of the company.
Shut up.
That's the thing. Not like, we're upset that he is in jail. It's like, no, nobody uses steroids here. If somebody uses steroids, we don't know anything about that.
I'd love to have seen the Dixie Carter steroid trials.
Well, she does do an interview before Congress after the Benoit thing about steroids, which I'm now realize I'm going to make you read her entire congressional testimony in full on the podcast.
Seems a little bad taste.
No, it's been long enough. It's fine.
Garrett says, "Move on, bitch." That explains why you were tweeting the other day about the Observer Hall of Fame, and you're like, "Oh, Dave let Benoit in, but he won't let Punk in. What the fuck?" And we're all like, "Garrett, that's not how it works." But you just kept going on with all those Twitter threads.
No, that would mean I haven't gotten over it.
You definitely could. Fair. Damn it. It was me. I made those threads.
Whereas I'm like, Liam let it behind. Benoit, he was a good wrestler. Regardless of what you feel about
you have to separate art from artist.
Regardless of what you think about the atrocities he committed, he was a good wrestler. So
I don't know about you, but I consider that theme song Rush's theme song first and foremost.
Hector and his attorney are anxious to proceed with the case and prove Hector's innocence, and we look forward to his return. Is the end of that quote from Brad Bernstein. So, the steroids he was taking were legal in Mexico, but he probably shouldn't have taken them over the border into the US, where they are in fact illegal.
He probably didn't know.
Yeah, and that's the problem. But there's the speculation there was also some immigration issues. There's a lot more context in the show notes from Dave if you'd like to dive deeper into it. It's a shame, given they strapped the rocket to him this month,
and that he's one of the best wrestlers on the show.
Yeah, so he beats AJ this month. He loses to Jarrett and Hall, but in main event matches, and then he went to get the win back against Hall on the pay-per-view. So they really were going all in on Hector Garza. This was the month where they were like, let's try and make this guy our Latin star. It was a big Dusty Rhodes initiative to make Hector Garza their big Latin star, and well, it ended very, very, very abruptly.
Did they just give up?
Well, I think he was banned from the US for 5 years in the end.
Oh, fuck.
I did check the next time he worked in the US, the only other time he worked in the US before he passed away, sadly, was in 2011. So he didn't work in the US for another 7 years after this.
I am devastated.
Yeah, and this was the moment. And, who knows how far he would have been able to take it? Who knows if they would have just given up on him? But they were trying, they were really honest to goodness try. He main evented 3 Impacts this month.
And the next year when we start talking about guys that they start elevating, re-elevating like with AJ, or elevating back to that top level with your Abyss and your Monty Brown. He could have been another one of those names, and then via proxy, one of these like TNA guys for the next 10 years. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, and then he jumps to WWE in 2007 and has a mediocre run, and everyone mocks him. He's a Chris Harris.
Oh God, knock knock. Who's there?
Don't you dare. Don't you bring, like, nothing. Literally, I'm irrationally triggered at all times by people mentioning Braden Walker in relation to Chris Harris.
Whoa, I wasn't going to say the BW word.
Like, literally, it makes me irrationally angry when people bring up Braden Walker. Because, like, Chris Harris, fucking all-time great tag team wrestler. Get out of here with your nonsense.
Garrett, how do you feel about JPEG Mafia having a rap line that says the word Braden Walker in it?
Does he have one that says Chris Harris in it?
He does not.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter.
Mr. Peg.
Didn't you attend one of his shows recently?
Like 6 months ago.
You should have shouted at him about this. You would have watched enough Chris Harris to know at that stage.
I think... did he do that song? He might have done that song. He did. He definitely did do that song. And I think I'm the only one here who gets that.
And then you started informing people about the wonders of America's Most Wanted around you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, in the middle of the mosh pit, I was like, have you ever seen Triple X versus AMW in a cage? Yeah, the crowd was really mean to AMW, but they were great.
Garza pleaded guilty in a hearing on the 11th of January on misdemeanor charges of steroid possession and sentenced to 15 days in prison, of which he had already served 9. He was allowed to return home to Monterrey, Mexico, and did not have to post bond. They were hoping this wouldn't affect his visa status or wouldn't affect his ability to come back to the US and wrestle. And as I said, he didn't wrestle again in the US until 2011 and never wrestled again for TNA.
Free him. Free my mans.